Okay, so if you're overweight, this is a video about how I was around 250 pounds. Now I'm around 207, 205. So it's how I lost about 45 pounds. I'm pretty sure I was close to 260 at one point, but that was just before I started tracking it. So you could call it over 50 pounds. There's so much information about losing weight, losing fat online. But the thing is, it's very simple. And all the YouTubers and Instagram people have to keep regurgitating the same thing or coming up with some new like fad thing, like some fad workout, fad diet to try and keep the eyeballs, try and keep the viewer retention. But really, it's really simple. And some people don't agree with the whole calories in, calorie out thing. They think it's something to do with something else. But if you look at the simple law of like thermodynamics, which is, calorie is a unit of energy. So it's that real simple old age thing of you have to be burning more calories in a day than you are consuming. So you have to work out your basal metabolic rate, and then you have to work out how much you can eat to eat underneath that. So I've got a free 7-day little mini fat loss course in the description, and also a link to work with me one-on-one if you're really serious about losing fat and adding muscle. But the main thing is, to take away from this video is, you have to keep it real simple and stick to it. So you have to know what you're doing, and then you have to be consistent with it. So the thing is, it can be a bit of a slow process, especially if you are very overweight, unless you are tracking it on the scales or looking at it in taking regular photos. You could easily be losing weight and not realize. So you have to know what you're doing, be consistent. And so most people don't do these two things. They don't know what they're doing, then they are consistent with it. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to work out your macros, work out your nutrition plan, and then you have to freaking stick with it. Because if you don't do these, you'll probably end up doing some fad diet, or you will crash diet, like you'll just be eating like salads and like just drinking loads of like Diet Coke and having loads of food. You don't know what you're eating. So you have to track your food, know what you're eating, be consistent with it. Work out your basal metabolic rate, work out your macros, work out what you can eat. That's all in the course and the description below. It's really simple. And then what I do is get MyFitnessPal and work out what you can eat in a day. So say like for me, I like 2,500 calories, sort of amount of protein, carbs and fats. Then you can play with it and go through and say, say if I had 400 grams of chicken breast with some rice for dinner, and then lunch, maybe had like some eggs on toast or something. Breakfast, you have like porridge and a protein shake, and then you have like maybe a small little bit of chocolate or something throughout the day. Does that work in my calories? Does that work? And then you can create what I would call cookie cutter days. So you can have as many or as few of these as you want. But so, for example, that one I just said, say that hit your macros and your calories, then you can have that, and if you eat that in the day, then you're on track. You can have another day where maybe you're like, for breakfast, maybe if I have banana smoothie, lunch, maybe it's like mackerel on toast, dinner is maybe like steak and potatoes. Does that hit it, or is that too much, too less? And then you can go through and just like track every day if you want, like eating random stuff. It's a bit more difficult. Or you can have cookie cutter days and just know like today I'm going to have cookie cutter day number 1, which is the one where you start off with like oats, or the one where you start off with like a protein shake. And then you track that, do it for months on end, track your weight, take your photos, and then adjust accordingly. So there's a bit of like trial and error with this, doing it by yourself. So I did it by myself, and if I'd actually had someone else to guide me through the process, it would have been a lot quicker. But you just have to be really consistent with it and know what you're doing. So it's really simple, but then the simple things aren't always easy. So you've got to know what you're doing, and then you've got to be consistent with it. So it's can be a bit of a boring process, but when you start to see results, then you will be happily eating your cookie cutter days in your macros and nutrition. So yeah, I'm Sam. We talk about personal development and health and fitness on this YouTube channel, my channel here. Again, there's a free 7-day fat loss course in the description. That's really what I wish I had a couple of years ago when I was starting this journey. Totally free, no obligation, anything like that. If you want to work one-on-one and really turbocharge your results, there's also a link to work with me in the description as well.